Welcome everyone to beautiful Esperance in Western Australia. Today we're beaming the dream from Twilight Cove here around the tourist loop. It's about a 40-kilometre stretch of road that goes from West Beach, which is over behind us here, all the way around to 11 Mile. Honestly, I think the most picturesque coastline in the world. I've been pretty lucky to go elsewhere and it's amazing. You've got the turquoise water, the beautiful white sand. I mean, you can see the people who are swimming behind me here today. Literally, it looks like they're in a bathtub. The water's so nice and clear. It's unbelievable. We have 105 islands off of Esperance, so a really unique coastline as well. But before I get into all of that, I'll introduce myself. My name's Jaimen Hudson. I operate Esperance Island Cruises and Esperance Coastal Tours. We do boat tours here in Esperance and also have a bus that takes people out to some of these iconic locations. And I'm also a photographer. I focus primarily on wildlife photography, filming the beautiful dolphins and whales that we get around here in Esperance, surfing in the nice waves. And I can't wait to showcase it all to you here today. So, the first thing we're going to get talking about is my personal favourite thing, and that's the unique archipelago that we have off of Esperance. It's called the Recherche Archipelago, and that got its name from one of Matthew Flinder's ships when he passed through here. Recherche translates to research in French, and the other vessel he was travelling with was called Esperance, and that is where the name Esperance comes from. Now, obviously, before that, the Noongar people inhabited the land here for many thousands of years, and they called Esperance Kepa Kurl, which means the place where the water lies like a boomerang. And if you go up to the lookout at Esperance and you look over our bay, it does indeed look like a boomerang, or it looks like a beautiful love heart-shaped bay. So it's a really iconic, beautiful view. So if you ever make it here, which I hope you will after seeing how beautiful it is, you'll be able to check that out. So back out to the islands, there's 105 islands. We operate boat trips out there, Esperance Island Cruises, and there's also another company called Woody Island Eco Tours. They take people out to Woody Island here, and we love showcasing this beautiful archipelago to people. On the boat trips, we see things like sea lions, fur seals, dolphins, Cape Barren geese, and they also feed the white-breasted sea eagles in a couple of places. There's 105 named islands, and then there's also over 1,200 obstacles to shipping. So what that means is low-lying reef, unnamed islands, area where there's no growth, so they're not considered an island. So if you come down here and compare it to somewhere like Busselton or Bunbury, you'll just be amazed as soon as you're looking out over the water how many islands you see and just how beautiful it is. So if you're planning a trip to Esperance, it's about 750 kilometres south of Perth. The best way to get here is either jump in your vehicle, head on down, usually through Hyden, checking out Wave Rock before eventually stopping off here. You can do it in a day, no worries at all. Otherwise, you can just do an overnighter, stopping off there, checking out the Wave Rock before making your way down here. There's also ways in through Albany or through Kalgoorlie. But of course, if you're like many of us and you don't want to sit in a car for 7.5 hours, I'd recommend that you just jump in a plane. Rex Airlines will get you down here. It only takes about an hour and a half. And before you know it, you'll be getting off at the airport, 25-kilometre drive into town, and you'll be welcomed with that beautiful view as you drive over 6 Mile Hill of the Esperance Bay. One of the coolest parts about our archipelago off of Esperance here is it was also home to Australia's only recorded pirate, Black Jack Anderson. Now, he ruled the waters off of Esperance in the early 1800s. He basically was a sealer who turned to robbing merchant vessels as they went past. Pretty cool to think that we now take customers out through the same archipelago that a pirate sailed through. Australia's only pirate sailed through all those years ago. So that's another unique thing about Esperance. And he actually called Middle Island home. Now, Middle Island is the one that is very famous off of Esperance. That has Lake Hillier on it. That's the beautiful pink lake. It's absolutely bubblegum pink. If you get an aerial view of it, you've got the turquoise water, white sandy beach, green shrub, and then this amazing bubblegum pink lake. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. I've been very lucky to travel. I went to the Grand Canyon, but in all honesty, I think this rivals that. So you can either get a helicopter there, a boat out there, or you can get a scenic flight over the top of it with somewhere like Fly Esperance. So there's a lot of great ways you can get out there and see it. I know you guys are on the aerials right now. This is honestly a quintessential Esperance day. Beautiful turquoise water. You can see the people on the beach. Believe it or not, this is actually like a busy day at an Esperance beach. If you have someone within 10 metres of you, it kind of annoys you, so you find somewhere else to go. It's a really beautiful spot. Scott's just going to cruise over and show you what's known affectionately locally as Dolphin Beach. It doesn't really have a name, but it's a great little surf spot on the back here. It's a great spot to get out of the wind if it's blowing from the east. Otherwise, if it's blowing from the west, you can come over here to Twilight Beach. It's called Dolphin Cove because basically we get a lot of dolphins surfing the waves there. They cruise along that picturesque coastline. Honestly, this tourist loop, I drive it at least once a day probably. I come out here, I park up the top, I look out over the bay just in search of wildlife. And I mean, I've lived here for 32 years now. I was born here in Esperance. I went home to a house that's only one house away from where I live now, and I still am in awe when I drive out around that tourist loop and I get to see that coastline. And I think, man, if only I could see it again for the first time. But I really kind of get to see it again for the first time through our passengers' eyes. When we take them out on a boat cruise, even though it's something we've done many times, you can just see how much they're absolutely loving it and how enthralled they are with getting to experience these things. Sea lions in their natural environment, dolphins swimming under the bow of the boat, an eagle that has a 2-metre wingspan swooping in and picking up a herring off of the ground. So if you're just joining us here, guys, we are basically live streaming from Esperance, also known as Kepa Kurl, beaming the dream. I feel like I'm living the dream. It's a beautiful day here, absolutely magnificent. I mean, have a look at your screen right now. Scott's panning back with the drone. I honestly don't think it gets much better. It's so magnificent. I feel so blessed to be the one that gets to show Esperance to you. I love Esperance. I feel really passionate about it. And I hope through watching this footage, you'll come down here and join us in this magnificent town. Out east of Esperance, we also have Cape Le Grand National Park. Now, Le Grand pretty much sums it up. It is absolutely grand. It's fantastic. It's spectacular. We have Frenchman's Peak, which is absolutely an awesome walk. It's not wheelchair accessible, so I haven't done it for quite a few years, but it is one hell of a view when you get up there. Basically, you climb up the eastern side of Frenchman's Peak, which you may be able to see in the distance off on the drone footage right now. When you get up to the top there, you can see the beach Esperance is probably most famous for, Lucky Bay. We also have Hellfire Bay, which is probably a favourite of mine. A little less well known than its cousin Lucky Bay, but extremely beautiful. Once again, the whitest sand in Australia. And I'm not just making that up, it has actually won the whitest sand in Australia a couple of times. And I believe the way they test that is they actually get a petri dish of the sand, take it back to a lab, and they get them from all around Australia and do it properly. It's not just a matter of looking at it and going, oh, wow, look at this. So we claim that. I think we won it a couple of years ago, a few years in a row. So if you ever get here, you've got to check out Lucky Bay, Hellfire Bay, Thistle Cove. I mean, the list goes on, to be honest with you. What you'll also see as we pan around from Twilight Beach here and head off towards 4th Beach, you'll see there's literally no one on the beach right now. It's absolutely stunning. And I mean, this is a really nice day in Esperance, guys, coming into the peak period, and that's our busy beach. How cool is that? So you got to come down here, you pretty much get a beach to yourself. This is only 4 kilometres from the town centre. We're sitting on a bike path right now. You could walk here, ride here. And where else would you want to be? One of my other favourite spots around Esperance is Wharton Beach. That's about 100 kilometres east of Esperance in the Duke of Orleans area. Wharton Beach, I mean, if you Google Wharton Beach or you jump onto my Instagram, Jaimen Hudson, and check out Wharton Beach, you'll just be blown away. I don't even know how to describe it, really. I've been very lucky to go up north to Turquoise Bay and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, they are absolutely stunning. But there's just something about our beaches down here when you visit them, and you can be the only one on there, and they're so unbelievably stunning. You're allowed to drive your car on a lot of the beaches down here. Even if you don't have a 4-wheel drive, you can get a 2-wheel drive down on the beach, cruise around. and get out, get the barbecue out, get the esky out, and make a real afternoon of it. It's absolutely stunning. All right, have a look straight down here. As you can tell, that turquoise water, that white sand is just stunning. You can see the nice waves rolling in, and the wind started to pick up a little bit now, so it doesn't really give you a true picture of how amazing it can be. But I know a lot of you that are seeing this for the first time, your minds are blown. You're thinking, how could it get any better? But it does get better. We're very lucky down here. It's honestly, I think, one of the most beautiful places in the world, and that's why we like to call it home. I'm glad to call this place home, and I'm also glad to operate a couple of businesses down here. What we have here in Esperance is Esperance Island Cruises, Esperance Diving and Fishing, and also Esperance Coastal Tours. So I love to get people out on the water, showcasing them our unique archipelago. You get abundance of islands, and we also have great fishing. We have great beaches that we can take people in our tour bus to show them. We get you out on the beach, offer you a coffee. But one of the most famous places in Esperance is Twilight Rock, which is right behind me here. I can't see if there's anybody jumping off of it at the moment, but it's nature's diving board. It's pretty incredible. You can swim right out there, wade out there basically in a hip-deep water. You can paddle your board out there, climb up on top of the rock and get a suntan, or jump off the top for a little bit of exhilaration. There's something over the back that you can't see here, but it's called the washing machine. And basically you jump in there on a bit of a swelly day and you get tumbled around on the nice slimy rocks. But I remember doing that as a kid hundreds of times. It's a lot of fun. This is where we have our Surf Life Saving Club. So if you come to Esperance and you're a little bit unsure about your swimming or about rips, here's the place to come. We have 2 flags set up. Come and swim between the flags with confidence, knowing that you've got people there that can come and help you if you get caught in a rip. If you ever come to Esperance, you have to do a scenic flight. Our coastline is just nothing else in the world. You can zoom over the coastline here and see what I see with my drone, or see what you're seeing through Scott's drone right now, and it honestly will blow your mind. You just look out the window and you've just got that nice turquoise water. It's definitely not unusual to spot a dolphin or a whale or something like that. That's one thing I'd love to point out as well. A lot of people don't come to Esperance in winter because they're worried about the weather. But I have to tell you, winter we get the whales coming through here, southern right whales, some humpback whales. You'll see my footage of dolphins and whales interacting together. And all of that shot in winter time. So you can see how beautiful the weather is, how clear the water is. So it's a must visit. If you're thinking about a holiday this winter, I'm sure you can get a bargain on accommodation. Come down and check it out. You'll absolutely love it. It's an incredible part of the world. All right, another thing I'd highly recommend if you come to Esperance, I'm partial to a beer. You got to go out to Lucky Bay Brewery and grab a beer. Nigel and his wife out there, they do a great job. They've just built a brand new facility. It's great if you've got kids. They'll run around on the ground. There's a boat for them to play in. There's a tractor for them to drive on. If my son's out there, you'll just have to fight him for it because he loves doing it. But it really is an awesome spot. And another great thing to check out is James down at the Esperance Distillery. He does a great job. The distillery has only been running for about a year, but their branding, their Instagram, everything about it, they're just doing a really great job. And I'd highly recommend that you go check out the Esperance Distillery on Norseman Road. We recently had one of their gins called the Botanical Gin. It was absolutely amazing. And I mean, they're all great. Yeah, my favourite beer, if you go to Lucky Bay Brewery, I'd recommend Skippy Rock or Sandy Hook. Or, I mean, they're all good. There's no dramas there, but they're all lovely. Scotty's just getting the drone back up in the air, so you won't have to stare at me much longer. You'll get that amazing aerial shots that's really helped to put Esperance on the map. Lots of people coming down here with their drones, filming it. It's a spectacular coastline and part of the world. A few little places around Esperance that are a little less well known, but definitely worthwhile checking out, is somewhere like the Conningup Tavern. If you're on your way out of town, you feel like going to the Duke of Orleans, Wharton Beach, the Duke of Orleans Caravan Park and spending a night, maybe drop in at the Conningup Tavern. They've got a great feed out there. Another one that is if you're coming in from Norseman, we have the beautiful We have the beautiful Gibson Soak Hotel out there as well, which is absolutely stunning. Awesome. So check out the people coming in and out off of the water right now. That's another thing that everyone thinks about Esperance. They think it's freezing in the water, but on a day like this, you can't wait to get a dip. Honestly, that nice refreshing water gets you feeling alive, and you'll absolutely love it. Some really good fishing off of Esperance as well for people that are thinking about coming down here. We get the salmon run through, when do we get the salmon run? April, around Easter time. So we have the salmon coming through here. We get things like skippy, herring, whiting, garfish, all sorts. Basically off of the jetty. If you want calamari for dinner, go down there with a squid jig, cast it out, and there's no doubt you'll be having a delicious feed by that night time. One thing I love most about summertime here in Esperance is coming around the tourist loop where we're sitting right now, Twilight Beach, and just watching people enjoy the place that I get to call home. And just look at it, how you can see everyone down there, some people enjoying a beer, the kids are building sandcastles, they're out on their bodyboards. It's pretty much probably the stuff dreams are made of, hence being the dream. Right out over the cave there, nice and low. You can see the waves rolling in. It's honestly just stunning. I don't know how else to sell it to you guys other than this footage right now. You ever make it down this way, you'll just love it. And I know people are a bit put off by that car drive, 750 kilometres. But I think if you come down on a Friday, you stay the Saturday, Sunday, go home on the Monday, or obviously if you've got more time, spend longer, but you'll just fall in love with the place and next time you'll want to come back longer. There's so much to do for the kids in summertime. We've got great skate parks, we've got 2 pump tracks, we've got a mini golf, you can hire the purple scooters and all zip along the foreshore. You'll have a wonderful time. We've got some really good bars in Esperance. We have 33 Degrees, we have the Pier Hotel, Loose Goose, Fish Face, the tea rooms. If you want to get some local fish, you have Bandy Creek Fish Shop. It literally just comes straight in off of the boat. They get it ready, fill it up, and you can buy it. So there's no better place in the world to come get some of that nice local seafood. Personally, one of my favourite things is something like a red snapper or a pink snapper. Also, what else do we get down here? Oh, the abalone. You have to try some of the abalone. The local crayfish. The more I think about it, the more amazing Esperance is, really. It's such a great spot. As you can see as well, if you're ever worried about jumping in the water, just bring your paddleboard down. You can see there's some people down on the beach here with their paddleboard. You can cruise out to the island if you want, go out to the rock, explore the cave. There's honestly endless things to do. You can't beat going to somewhere like 11 Mile Beach. That's the last beach on the end of our tourist loop run. And where you'll get there is the sun setting straight over the water. So you can walk right down to one of the lagoons and just see it as it sets over the headland. I actually went out to drone the sunset the other day, about 2 nights ago, and silly me, I'd forgotten my drone remote control. But I kind of enjoyed it because it's the first time I've ever actually just sat there and enjoyed the sunset instead of feeling like I've got to be photographing the whole time. So I'd recommend just coming down here, grabbing yourself a drink or, grabbing the barbecue, going out to somewhere like 10 Mile, 11 Mile, having a feed and just enjoying yourself. Oh, look at these people boarding surfing as they come in here, a father and son. If you want to get your kids away, parents, if you want to get your kids away from the city, there's no better place than Esperance, honestly. You can see the people out there. They're in up to their knees in like probably some of the most clear water in the world. I think it rivals Tahiti. And then you can body surf the waves, put a mask and snorkel set on them, go to somewhere like Twilight Beach where it's really well protected in the corner here, or 10 Mile Lagoon where it's extremely protected as well. Have a swim there, mum and dad can be out there swimming in the lagoon while the kids rest on the beach or throw a line out. There really is just endless possibilities. If you go up to the top of the lookout rock here, overlooking the bay, you'll see it literally is shaped like a boomerang, or it's known as the Love Heart Bay. It's absolutely spectacular. But one of my favourite spots that we're just flying over to now is this stretch of coastline called Observatory Point. Now, it's basically a cliffy, rocky edge that falls away down into the water. It's part of the tourist loop here in Esperance. You can park right up the top there. It's very common to see dolphins surfing the waves. If you jump onto my Instagram, Jaimen Hudson, or Esperance Cruises, our business page, you'll see the dolphins in the waves. You'll see the boat in that turquoise water. It's not photoshopped, it's real life. This is exactly what we live with down here on a day-to-day basis. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Scott spotted some dolphins out there right now. That's how often we're seeing them along the coastline here. What I should have done is put in a phone call to my friends at Fly Esperance. They would be out on a scenic flight right now. I'm certain of it. We could have asked them where there's some dolphins in the area, and we might be able to direct the plane over to it. As you can see behind me here, we've got a heap of people just enjoying the beach. This is December 12th, remember, December 12th. So we're right in the heat of summer, and there's probably 30 people down on one of our most famous beaches. So if you come to Esperance, you know you're not going to have to fight for real estate on the beach. You're going to be able to find somewhere, a nice 10-metre square patch or more. Yourself and the family can play. In a little while, I'll get Scott to direct the drone over towards 4th Beach, and you'll see how amazing it is over there. This is probably a 5-kilometre beach. And you tell me, can you see anyone on that beach? I think I can maybe see one person. I actually recently just got a 4-wheel drive wheelchair, so I went back on this beach for the first time in maybe 10 years or so. The Shire are in the process of putting in a nice accessible ramp. It's going to be perfect for mums with prams, people with wheelchairs, the family that has to tow the cart full of so many, different beach toys. And I just basically drove in my wheelchair all the way around the beach there. I've lived here my entire life, and moments like that still take my breath away. So I'm certain if you come down here, you'll absolutely fall in love with it, and you won't want to go back home again. You'll be looking for jobs, you'll be looking for real estate. Well, everyone, I can't thank you enough for joining me here in Esperance, Western Australia, Kepa Kurl. It is my favourite place in the world, and I love welcoming tourists. I hope you have a fantastic Monday afternoon. Get on Google, start planning your trip to Esperance. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much.